Hey y'all. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm Patrice and I am so glad that you are here. For my returning subscribers, hey y'all, welcome back. So I was in Five Below the other day per the usual, and I came across this jean jacket, and y'all know I'm usually trying to sublimate everything inside of Five Below, but this is 100% cotton and it will not take sublimation. Of course, it's this dark blue. But I started thinking, what can I do to personalize this jacket? And at first, I was just going to use a little bit of HTV. However, I decided to give this jacket a little razzle dazzle. So we are still going to put a little bit of HTV onto the back of the jacket, and I will be using this beautiful holographic mystic white HTV that I got from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and I can't wait to try this out. This vinyl can also be used for sublimation, and I will be testing this out very soon to see how it subs. So we will be using a layer of that, and also we will be using some Hot Fix rhinestones. So I will be using two different colors of Hot Fix rhinestones. I will be using clear white and also the AB 10SS rhinestones. You'll also need a little bit of this flock to create your template. And I got this flock from Heat Transfer Warehouse. All of the links to the items that I'm using today will be listed in the description below. You will need a little bit of this heat transfer tape. And we are going to be using Silhouette Studios and also our new Cricut Maker 3 to cut out the template. So let's get started, y'all.
All right, y'all. So now we are going to create a very, very quick design for our jean jacket. And we are in Silhouette Studios, the business edition. And with the business edition, I am able to access the rhinestone panel. With the basic edition, which is the free edition, you are unable to access it. You do not have those capabilities. So let's get started with our design. I am going to click over here on the left and open up the text feature, and we have our cursor, and so we're going to start with "oh so," and I am just going to go ahead and fill that in. I'm changing everything to black. Okay, so now I want to start with changing the font, and for this particular phrase, I want it to be a single line of rhinestones. So I need to select a sketch font. You can find sketch fonts in the Silhouette Studios store, or you can also find sketch fonts on fontbundles.net. I believe you can also find on thefont.com. However, I am looking for fonts that I can use and sell. Today we will be using the Cottage Sketch font, and I am going to resize it a bit for now. Next, we are going to put Crafty, and I am just going to select this, and I am going to fill all of this in. And so for this particular font, I am going to use a font called Love Moon. And I want this to be as large as possible. Today we are using a 12 by 12 mat. I will be cutting this template out with my Cricut Maker. I will be using a regular 12 by 12 mat. So this looks almost good. I may size it up just a tad bit, so oh so crafty. Well, oh so is a little bit larger, and I want it to just kind of fit right there. All right, so that's how I want it to look. I am going to make this pink just for the sake of the rhinestones that we'll be using.
Okay, so our image is all set and I like the way that this looks. But first I need to make a copy just in case anything happens, and also I need a cuttable file for the HTV. So I'm going to make a copy and just set that over to the side. Next, I'm going to select the Oh So. I think we can work on that first. And then head over to the right panel and open up the rhinestone option. Here I'm going to select the edge option under the rhinestones, and we will be using the 10SS rhinestones, so everything looks pretty good. It does look like there are a few rhinestones missing in certain areas and some that might be bunched up, and so I'm just going to click onto the freehand option, and where there are missing rhinestones I will be able to add the rhinestones needed. All right, so let me just magnify this a bit just so I can see how the other rhinestones look. And we definitely have some that are bunched in this area right here.
And so to move your rhinestones, you want to kind of just do release rhinestones. And then you can kind of move them around. So I may want to move this here just to give it a little bit more room. And you can also delete the rhinestones. So let's say I may want to delete this one. I don't think I really want to though. So we're going to do that and we'll move this one kind of down. I don't think I really want to delete it. Okay, now that looks a little better to me. And then let's go over here and see what we want to do here. Yeah, that one I may actually release one or delete that one. Okay, and so now that looks pretty good to me. Then I'm going to go down a bit, reduce that size or the magnification, and then now I'm going to click on Crafty. And so we are using the same size rhinestones, 10SS. However, I think I want to maybe do a linear fill. Well, maybe not. That doesn't look all that great. Let's try to do the radial fill. I'm not really impressed with either. And so I am going to kind of reduce the spacing a tad, or a nice amount. Let's see if we did 0.025. All right, y'all. So these are not lining up the way that I want to, and I definitely want to use a 10SS rhinestone. So I am going to have to freehand it a little bit. All right, so I am going to use the linear fill, and I am just going to freehand some of these rhinestones where I want them to be to fill in the white space. And I chose the linear option because I wanted the straight lines or the straight edges to be straight. Here I'm just placing the rhinestones so that they're not touching each other. I want the cuts to be pretty clean, and so I don't want that to affect how the rhinestones fall into place once we start brushing them. Just giving them a little bit of space. Kind of zoomed in so that you all can see the rhinestones that I'm placing in that open space. And I just want to make sure that the rhinestones are not really touching because I want the cut to be very clean. Also, while doing this, I'm moving some of the other rhinestones just so that everything kind of fits really good. And if you see any rhinestones that need to be deleted, some that just in the way or it's out of place, you can actually delete it while you're doing this also. That's pretty much what I'm doing here, just so that everything kind of looks good. You could use your other duplicate as a way to guide you into placing the rhinestones. All right, y'all, so I am all done with adding the rhinestones and moving them around. That took about 5 to 8 minutes to get that done, as far as just moving some of them around and deleting some ones that were extra. So you do want to go ahead and do that. If you are selling the file, or if you are putting these on shirts to sell, that time is needed to make sure it looks good. So I am going to go ahead and minimize the view so that we can see how it looks. And I am pretty pleased with how those rhinestones are now flowing inside of the letters. And so I want to go ahead and check this and just make sure that the crafty is going to look good behind it, and it is. All right, y'all, so I forgot to group the rhinestones back together once I was done with moving them around. So I need to group these separately because this is going to be a separate template on top. So I am now just going to select those rhinestones that are not selected. And I'm doing that by pressing my shift key and clicking onto the rhinestones that are not selected. All right, and so now I'm going to right click and I'm going to select group, and those are grouped together. And so this will be a little easier for me on this one because I can now, since I can move that up, I can just select all of these. And I do want to turn all of the dots black. But there's some that may not be selectable. So let me go all the way down and select those, turn those black. Perfect. All right, and so this is how it looks. I do see some areas where I could have moved a little bit more around and put some extra rhinestones, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks. So I'm going to select all that, click group, and so now we have a movable file. And uh-oh, something didn't get in. That one didn't. All right, now let's group that again. Good. Let's make sure everything is there. Everything is. And so while you're doing this, you want to make sure that you do not change the size of the font. You don't want to adjust this to make it larger, smaller, or anything, because that will change your rhinestone size. So you don't want to do that. All right, and this looks like this is going to look good just like this. So I am going to go ahead and group this together. All right, so we want to make this all one shape. So we are going to convert this to path and make a compound path. I'm just going to change that back to black. And then we are going to select all of this and we are going to group it. Now, I really want this to cut as one file, but once we get over to Cricut, I'm not sure if I am going to delete this altogether, delete OSO, because it is a very, very thin shape. So I don't know if I'll really need it to go behind the OSO. Now, you want to make sure that you take note of the dimensions of each of the cut files, because when we go over to Cricut, it will not import in with these dimensions, okay? It usually imports in a lot smaller. So you just want to make sure you note the exact dimensions, because you don't want to be sizing it inside of Cricut, because that will change the shape of your rhinestone holes. All right, so we are going to go ahead and save this. So you're going to click Save As. When you go to Save As, you want to change the format to an SVG format. Once you change that to SVG format, you can name your file whatever you're going to name it, and we are going to name this Oh So Crafty 2, and we are ready to save. All right, y'all, so now we're inside of Cricut, and we are going to get ready to upload that file, and we named that Oh So Crafty 2, and here it is. All right, so it looks pretty good. We are going to upload and insert. Okay, so now, as I told you all, it comes in very, very small. And so, as you saw, I did not convert the word crafty into a compound path. And so we have all of these little dots here. All right, so I am going to weld that, but first I want to go ahead and ungroup this, and I'm not going to try to make this larger or adjust the size from this particular area. So now we have our rhinestone file and our vinyl file or image. So the also, as you see, because I converted that to path and made a compound path, it is all one layer. But the word crafty is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, and I don't really want to move it around much, but I do want to go ahead and convert that now. So I'm just going to click on this one that says Oh So Crafty. And those are all of the dots over here in the right panel. It's a lot of dots, y'all. And we are just going to click Weld. All right, so let me try to make that a little bit bigger just so I can see what it looks like, to make sure nothing out of the way happened. And it did. All right, guys, so I'm not really going to weld these because some of them may be slightly touching, and I don't want that to affect my cut. So I'm going to keep these grouped together, and then I am going to put in the dimensions of the rhinestone cut. And as we see here, it's 4.589 by 11.461. .589, and the width is 11.461. Let me unlock it. And it might have automatically did the proportions for us. So for this one, let's go and see. That is 4.513. And it automatically put in the 11.348 here. Usually that happens. Sometimes it doesn't, so you want to double check it, but for the most part it does. All right, y'all, so we are going to get ready to go and make it, and I do want to make sure you all know to go ahead and select, if you have a situation where you were in a similar situation as me as far as the path not being converted correctly, or you losing rhinestones and you just want to get it done, you want to make sure that you select the group of rhinestones and do attach. Now I'm just going to go over the different mats and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be and that the sizing is correct, and everything looks pretty good. I'm very happy with it. So for the HTV, we have to remember to mirror that particular material because we will be cutting it on the back side. So definitely make sure you do that. And I already have the flocked settings saved. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you add a new material and you have a pressure of at least 340 to cut this flock. I'm also using extra pressure, so use more pressure. Now we have our flock for the first piece that we will be cutting, and I am going to remove the backing. And I got this flock from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and we are just going to place it on the mat so that we can cut it. And I remove the backing so that it'll be a little bit easier for us to just take this off and go, and we won't have to worry about picking small holes out of the flock. So our flock is complete and we are just going to weed it. I'm going to turn it over, and you want to be very careful because it can be a little stretchy and you don't want to distort those holes in the template. And so now I'm just going to remove this from the standard grip mat that we used, and now I'm taking out any of the holes that may still be left onto the template, and I am going to place this on top of a piece of cardstock so that I can keep using it. Now I'm just going to take my squeegee and scrape off as many of those holes, or well, all of those holes, so that I can reuse this mat again. Now it's time to cut the holographic HTV from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and their recommended settings for cutting this material is the light cardstock setting on your machine, and you will have easy weedable HTV once it's done cutting. So now we're done cutting, and I always find it easier to peel the mat away from the vinyl. It reduces any tearing or bunching of the vinyl, and it works best for me. So I'm just going to cut out the part that I need to weed, and let's get started with weeding this vinyl. So I like to remove the insides of the letters or objects first before removing the outer parts of the cut file. And so here I am just weeding away. This actually weeds pretty easily, and I like how it's looking. And y'all, this is so nice. Like, I really like this HTV. Okay, so now it's time to lay these rhinestones, and we will be using size 10SS rhinestones, and I ordered these from Amazon. We have the clear white, and we will also be using the AB 10SS rhinestones. So I'm going to start by pouring some of the rhinestones on top of the template and just moving the brush in circular motions around the template to help those rhinestones get settled into place. You will see some of the rhinestones possibly upside down. However, as you're brushing, they usually turn right side up. So just continue doing that until you are completely done with placing those rhinestones, and you just want to look over it and make sure there are no rhinestones that possibly are stuck in between each other and any that might be upside down. And I'm just using my tweezers and filling in the missing dots. Definitely make sure that you save those extra rhinestones because those are perfectly usable and don't need to be wasted. Now it's time for us to get our hot fix transfer tape and cut it down to size so that we can get ready to transfer these rhinestones onto it so that we can press it. So make sure you hold on to that backing and also the hot fix tape, because you can use this about 2 or 3 more times. So right now I placed that. You kind of want to curve it and just let it fall so that you don't make a mistake and move any of the rhinestones. And I am just pressing the rhinestones into the backing. I find that's the best way of getting those to transfer properly. And we are all set, and I am going to place this on top and get ready to press it soon.
Alright guys, so now we're under the heat press, and I'm just going to give this a lint roll. Even though we're not subbing, you still want to give your items a lint roll because you don't want anything to get caught in between the fabric and the HTV. All right, so we have that. And so I turned it to the side because I don't want to have like the sleeves or the buttons or anything like that to mess up the pressure. And so I'm just going to test that pressure a bit. That pressure is too much. Okay. All right. And you do want to have a nice, even, firm pressure. All right. I'm going to put my Teflon sheet down and press this. The suggested settings is supposed to be 320 degrees for 15 seconds, but I think I'm going to see if I can go a little less since we will be pressing this again. And you don't want it to shrink. So let's see if that was going to be enough. It was coming off. Oh, it's coming off. See if we can get it all. Alright guys, so the HTV is on, and now we are going to layer the vinyl on, and we are going to press this at 320 for about 10 seconds. Alright, and we're going to take these off. And next we're going to put the oh-so on there, the last part. And you want to keep your transfer sheet to use it a few more times. So this, I just have to remember where I actually wanted it to go, and I think I wanted it to go right here. And for this one, I'm going to let this go for the complete 15 seconds. All right, y'all. So that was easy peasy, and it was so much fun, and it is beautiful. So this Five Below jean jacket, this jacket was $5, y'all, and look what we did to this jacket. It is beautiful. That HTV from Heat Transfer Warehouse really sets this off, and I am pleased with the outcome. Y'all, you really have to see this in person. Like, look at those rhinestones. Look at the color of that vinyl coming through. It is so beautiful. So that's going to be it for us today. Also, for sizing of this jacket, I get a lot of questions about sizing. I got this jacket from, I believe, the juniors area of Five Below. So you definitely want to try this out and make sure that it is sized for you. But thank y'all so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to stick around and hit that subscribe button. In addition, join me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I would love to have you there. And don't forget to click the link to my vlogging channel, Patrice L, in that description, and subscribe to my vlogging channel. But that's it for today, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.